Okay, so maybe if there are no other questions, then we can start our today's session. And today is a very, very important chapter in one of the Bhagavad Gita. So we'll start. Let's see what Krishna is saying today, that how any person in this material world can attain to him. Yeah. So Hare Krishna, I welcome you to this course of Gita Gyan, the essence of Bhagavad Gita by ISKCON Seshadripuram, Bangalore. And let us start with the prayers such that we are able to invoke the mercy of Lord Krishna so that we are able to understand the message of Bhagavad Gita. So I'll request everyone, maybe I'll read one line. All the devotees can read it after me. Yeah. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya
Jananaya Salakaya
Chakshurum Militam Yena Tashmai Shri Gurave Nama
Chakshurunmilitam
येन तस्मै
Tasmai Shri
श्रीगुरवे
Gurave
नमः।
Namah.
Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamine
Srimati
श्रीमति
Bhakti
भक्ति वेदान्त
Vedanta
स्वामिनि
Swamini
नमिने।
Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine
Namaste
नमस्ते सरस्वती
Saraswati
देवे
Devi
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
Gauravacha
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarine
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
Pashataya Desi
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
जय श्री कृष्ण
Chaitanya
चैतन्य प्रभु
Prabhu Nityananda
नित्यानंद
Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashadi Gaura Bhaktavinda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi
Srivasadi
Gaura
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
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 Krishna Hare
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 Hare Rama Hare
Hare
Rama
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 Rama Hare
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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare
Hare Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
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 Hare Hare
Hare
Rama
Rama
Hare
Hare Rama
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 Rama Hare
Hare Hare
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Somniti Namine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Padayani Gaurikata Damadayana Garamatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lante Grim Yat Kripataham Aham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Iswaram. Hare Krishna. So, once again, welcome all devotees for today's session. So, this program is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So, you see this picture of an old man. So, this old man, usually we see when people get old, usually in India, they go to Vrindavan. Why they go to Vrindavan? Because it's said when you leave your body in Vrindavan, you will go back home, back to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada had a choice to stay in Vrindavan and leave his body and go back home, back to Godhead. But Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan in his olden age and went to West to preach the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So we see the Vrindavan is known as the hub of the universe, where Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna is the Radha Damodar, the presiding deity is there. People come there Vrindavan to die there actually. But Srila Prabhupada, he left Vrindavan and went for preaching, and that's the reason why we and you are here. If because Srila Prabhupada wouldn't have went to the Western world for preaching, this Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam wouldn't have come, and we wouldn't have become devotees of the Lord. So that's why we are very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. Because of Srila Prabhupada, we are here reading Bhagavad Gita. And we were also inspired by His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Guru Maharaj, who is the governing body commission of member and the mind spiritual master. So he inspired us to take the online classes sitting at our home, because a lot of devotees during the corona times was not able to come to temple. So with that, we'll start with our Gita Mahatmya. Who wants to read it? Okay, let's see. Yes, Shika Mataji, you have raised your hand. You can read it.
गीताया पुस्तकं यात्रा नित्या पठाश्च वर्तते तत्र सर्वनि तीर्थानि प्रायागदिनि भूतले वैष्णव्या तंत्रसारा. All the holy places in this universe, such as Prayag, are eternally present wherever the Gita, the eternal book of divine song, is present. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Yashika Mataji, for reading. So here we see this small kid is very fortunate. In this early age only, he is reading the Bhagavad Gita. So this is from Vaishnava Tantra Char. So in this Vaishnava Tantra Char, it is saying Krishna, usually if you go to Vrindavan, there is an Shyama Kunda and Radha Kunda is there. So Krishna called all the rivers, whatever the holy rivers was there, he called all holy rivers and make the one kund, which is known as a Shyam Kund, which is near Govardhan Parvat. So similarly, it is mentioned in Vaishnava Tantra Sar that it is said that all the holy places are present here. So it's in all the holy place in this universe, such as Prayag. So usually people go to Prayag because it's saying all the holy rivers are praised, and they do pilgrimage and they take the parikrama. It's saying, so wherever Bhagavad Gita is there, so it's saying all the holy places, all the holy rivers, every eternally they are present. So this is not a normal book. This is an eternal book, which is the divine song, which is the Lord Himself has sung this one. So we can do the parikrama of this Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, we see in the early in the morning also the devotee do the parikrama of Tulsi Maharani, and we sing the prayers at the end of the prayer. We say Yani Kani Chapa Pani Brahma Hatte Kani Cha Tani Tani Pranashanti Pradakshina Pade Pade. So that means even if a person who have killed a Brahmana also, so when we take a pradakshina of Tulsi Maharani, so all his sinful activities vanishes. And that's what the is the so Gita, where Gita is there, where Srimad Bhagavatam is there, all the holy places are present there. So wherever, if you are having a copy of Gita, you can also take a circumambulation of Gita. So whatever activities are there, whatever sinful activities we have done because of unknowingly or knowingly, everything will be vanquished in a certain time, in a fraction of second, and you will be able to understand the knowledge which Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita possesses. We'll move to further. So today's chapter name is Attaining the Supreme. So yesterday, what was the chapter name which we have covered? Can somebody say?
Knowledge of the absolute.
Yes. And what was the, how many shlokas was there?
Sorry. 29.
30.
30.
30 is the shloka number is there. And today chapter name is Attaining the Supreme. There are 28 shlokas which is mentioned in this. So this is one of the shortest, not completely shortest. This is chapter 15 is also there. That is the shortest. So 28 shloka is there in this Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna here will be talking about how we can attain the Supreme. Okay. Can somebody say what is this part of Gita known as from chapter 7 to 12?
Bhakti Yoga.
Yes, very good, Mataji. So this is known as 7 to 12 is known as Bhakti Yoga. So here, as yesterday I was talking about, this is the center part of Bhagavad Gita. That's why Krishna is talking. This is very important, known as a Bhakti Yoga. So as the center part of sandwich, a vada pav is filled with the stuff, and we like that much. So similarly, this Bhakti Yoga is the center part of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna here in this chapter, he will say how you can come to me. Last chapter yesterday we discussed about the knowledge of the absolute. This chapter Krishna will be giving the knowledge how you can attain him. Okay, with that we'll proceed further. Okay, who wants to read this shloka? Devotees, they can raise their hand. I'll just pick up. Or yes, Komal Mataji, you can go ahead and read.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktava kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samsaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for reading out so nicely. So here Krishna is saying Atra Samamsaya. So means no samamsaya. So there is no doubt. So Krishna is confirming here. In this shloka is saying, while when we die, when we leave this body, when the soul leaves this body at the end of this life, and when he quits, if the body remembers the Lord Krishna, then Krishna is assuring here that he will attain me. There is no doubt. Krishna here is saying at the end of life, when we are quitting this body, alone when we remember Krishna, we will go him. So in this purport of Srila Prabhupada also mentioned, even if somebody haven't done any bhakti or have done less bhakti also, but at the time of death, if somebody remembers Krishna, then he will go home, back to Godhead. So there is an example of Bhishma Devi is here. So Bhishma Devi, if you see, when you did, if you see here this picture, Bhishma Devi has been surrounded by Lord Krishna and all the Pandavas are there. So when he was in the on the bed of arrows, so he instructed all the Pandavas, you can go to Bhishma Dev and get the instruction of the life, how to rule and all those things. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he asked Bhishma Dev, can you tell me who is the best God who can be worshipped? So Bhishma Dev smiled and he said, the Lord which is in front of you is none other than Lord Krishna, because he is the original father. And so we see Bhishma Dev was known for his Ichha Mrityu. But how it is possible? So you should be knowing, you can take an example, whenever we are feeling very ill, suppose you are having fever or you are passing through stool or motion or anything, when the body is not well, we are not able to do any of the other activities. So it is mentioned in the scriptures, when the soul leaves the body, it's mentioned there 50,000 scorpion at a time bite there. So that's the like pain which the soul goes through. So you can imagine how much painful is there when the soul leaves the body. So Bhishma Dev gave that quick example, and he wanted to, when he was leaving his body, he wanted that Lord Krishna should be in front of him. And we can take one more example. So suppose in our childhood days or in our college days, so somebody might have gifted you a pen. So with this pen, you might see, if somebody gives you, we keep this pen, we preserve it. We don't want to use it also. No, somebody of my, who I love the most, my father, your relative, or whoever might be there, or your best teacher have given you. You don't want to use it also. You preserve it. Okay, I'll be keep on having it. And what happens suddenly if the pain is lot, you will be having so much of distress will be there. So Krishna here it is saying, at the time of death, it is very difficult to remember me. So he's saying only by practice. Yesterday we saw Krishna How he told? Only by practice we can do. Abhyas. We said only by practice, 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 and doing attachments, we can listen about Lord Krishna. So he's saying by hearing and by reciting it daily. So if you read one Bhagavad Gita sloka, make it a habit. At least read one Bhagavad Gita a sloka a day, then you will be able to remember Lord Krishna. So this is a key formula which Krishna here it is killing. Remember always me. So once we remember every day, then it will be happening. So it's just like uh, perfect formula is Krishna is giving here in this sloka to go back home, back to his godlike. So two ways are there. How we can achieve is this. How we can remember at the end of the day it is there, practice and through detachment. So here maybe there at this instance. So if suppose in this further Krishna says, if suppose you are not able to remember at the time of the, death, you're not able to remember Krishna, what will happen? We'll see in the next slide what Krishna is telling. Okay, who wants to read it? Komal Mataji have read it, I guess already. Okay, Shushmita Mataji, you can read it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram tam tam eva ati kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for reading it out, Shushmita Mataji. So here, previous shlokas we saw, Krishna was saying, if you remember Krishna, you will go back home, back to Godhead. And Krishna in this shloka is saying, if you are not able to remember, what will happen? So here in this shloka is saying, whatever state of being one remembers, when we are living this body, whatever he is remembering, the next body, he will attain that one. Whenever he is quitting this body, he will attain without fail. So Krishna is saying, when he quits the body, whatever form he's thinking of that one, he will attain the same without fail. So maybe I'll go through these examples which I've put it into the slides. So suppose my one of my Shiksha Guru is Grace Gauranga Prabhu. He once time when he was admitted in the hospital in Corona, he was in that consciousness. So at that time, when the family members used to go away from the hospital, everyone used to cry, you know. And at that time also, he used to try to distribute Bhagavad Gita to all those devotees. And who were the person who was sitting beside, so every day with the Lord mercy, he is still surviving. But he has seen within 1 month he was there in the hospital, and in the 1 month, so he have seen a lot of more than 50 people's dying. So he used to say every day or twice in a day, the bed used to change. The new people used to come, and they in the night they used to cry a lot, and they used to say, what will happen about my wife if I die? What will happen about my kids if I die? There are so many monies are there accumulated in my bank account. Nobody knows also, if I die, nobody will be able to take. And what so many houses I have built, who will take care of this? So people were always in distress, and they were always worrying what will happen next, what will happen. And that's what they die. So it's a saying, if a person here in this first look, if we given this example says there, if a person he is thinking of his wife, the next life he will be getting a body of a lady. If a lady thinks about the of his husband, then she will be getting a body of a gentleman, the next birth. So whatever, if you're thinking about your property, or so suppose if you're thinking about a property or have such a big mansion house is there, if I die, who will take care of my house? So either you will be born as a dog and you will be protecting your house only, or either you will be born as a cockroach or a lizard, and then you will be, if your karma is not there, and if you're not born as a human, then you will be living in the same house as there are. You can born as a snake also there, and the same family members, if you see the snake, and they will beat you again, and that's how you will be there.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you. In Garud Puran, it is also mentioned that he or she becomes the ghost who thinks of the property all the time at the time
Yeah,
of marriage.
there are many permutation combinations are there, Mataji, according to karma. If you, whatever your desires are there, the subtle body carries according to if your karmas are there. So suppose if I think, usually the people thinks like that, okay, I want to earn lot of money and I should be having a very big bungalow. There will be so many servants will be there who will be thinking of me. I don't need to earn also, because in this material body, we need to earn. Why we are earning? Because when we are earning, we can feed our family, we can feed our family and friends and everyone. So what happens? So suppose if my karma is not so good, I have this desire, and Krishna, as a loving father, he will fulfill his desire. So what will happen? He will be born as a dog. So nowadays, if you see, the dogs are always in the AC room. Even if you go like hi-fi car will be there, the owner of the dog will come and he will feed him. So no need to work hard also. You can attain, if you go out also, the owner of the dog will be carrying you in the bike or in the car. So it depends on the, a lot of is there in the Garud Puran incident mentioned. So 5 things are already been decided at the time of death and at the time of born, like when the person is born. So that's all is there, Mataji. So if you think about the property and all the things are there, you'll become a dog which is born outside the house also. So this holds good for the creatures also, other not only as a human being. So how people think about family, friends, home, wealth. So life is like an exam. If you see, so if the whole year, if a student doesn't study and suddenly one day teacher will come and say, okay, today is a test, is surprise test is there. If we haven't studied the whole exam, like whole year, and we won't be able to pass that exam. So in order to remember Krishna at the time of death, we need to prepare. And that's Krishna is saying, you need to remember me. So life is also like an exam. The final test is known as death. So the whole exam is like a preparation. The second example, if you see, here the frog is eating this fly. Okay, so what happens when the frog is eating the insect? The insect will be thinking about this frog, and the next birth it will be taking a body of the frog also. That's how the evolution also happened. It is important, whatever we remember during the death bedtime, we'll be getting the same body. Depending on the karmas and our desires also. So if someone is living, see it, that's the reason this course actually was designed by His Grace Anadi Jagannath Prabhu, who is no more with us actually. But he was a very, very nice gentleman, and his one of the seva was there. I have seen him personally. He was so compassionate among the souls, the devotees. So whenever a devotee was sick and he was admitted in the hospital, he used to always take prasadam and always used to take chanting bag and chanting mantras of Srila Prabhupada, and he used to play that music there. So it's saying, if someone is leaving the body, so we should be sitting beside him and chanting the holy name of the Lord. We should make him remember to think of him, because that kind of pain which a body goes through when he's leaving the soul is too much tremendous, which we'll be discussing in the further slokas also. So that's what is there. So it's a, if the third story, if you see, this is a nice story about Bharat Maharaj. So the Bharat, this Bharat Varsha is also named on the Bharat Maharaj. So this story is very big. If you take this story only, it will take 1 hour. Just to give a summary. So this Bharat Maharaj have left all his kingdom. He left all his kingdom and went to this forest in the search of liberation, in search of the God. And what happened? He was doing his sadhana daily. He was doing his rituals daily. So one time when he was doing his rituals and he went to this taking a bath there, he saw a deer was crossing this river. And when he was crossing this river, suddenly there a tiger came, and then in the fear of that, this deer climbed this crossed this one, and this deer was having, she was a pregnant. And what happened? While crossing the river, she fell down there and she died. But the deer kid was born, and the small deer was born. And this Bharat Maharaj, being as a sadhu or being as a very devotee of the Lord, he felt compassionate on those, the small cub of the deer. So he took the deer and then he started taking care of that. So he left everything, his whole world. He went to jungle such that he is able to practice devotional service. So what happened? He, instead of thinking about Krishna, he started taking about taking care of deer. So instead of becoming Krishna consciousness, he started becoming deer consciousness. So he used to think, okay, the deer have heavy ate. So he was feeding him every day and night. So one day while he was practicing his daily sadhana, that day the deer didn't come, and he was in distress. Oh, where my deer have went? Nobody, he's not able to see. So what happened? He was thinking day and night, he was thinking about the deer. And what happened? One day he died. And one day he died, and the next day he was born thinking, since he was thinking of a deer, the next birth he was born as a deer. So in the next day or next birth also, since he was a devotee of the Lord, so he came to a sadhu, and then in the next birth he was born as a Jad Bharat, and then he went back home, back to Godhead. So that's a whole story. Or is there at the time of death, whatever, if you remember, you will be going back home, back to Godhead. Or if you're not able to remember to Krishna, whatever you are thinking, you'll be attaining that form. That's what Krishna is telling you. We'll go to next slide. Okay, Hema Mataji have raised her hand. Mataji, you want to read it? Please go
Yes,
ahead.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmarayutya cha mayyarpita mano buddhir mame vaishasya samshrayah. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Yeah, thank you, Hema Mataji, for reading it out. So here, Krishna is further giving that instruction. So first of all, we should know when our death is coming. We don't know. I'm speaking right now. Tomorrow I might die. So when you're going, also you might think the road is very slippery. If you're thinking about that, if you're going on a road who's very slippery, if you're thinking about Krishna at the time of God death, you will go back to home. If you're thinking about that something else, whatever the form is there, it will be happening. So it's just like an surprise test. We have to prepare every day. It is mentioned that we have to practice this continuously. Therefore, Arjuna, if you see, Krishna is instructing to Arjuna, you always think of me. So Krishna in this shloka is saying, Arjuna, what all is? So now Krishna is saying in this shloka, now you know you need to remember me every time. Then only you'll be able to come to me. So at the time of death. So remember me in the form of Krishna. So Krishna here it is saying, yesterday one of the question was there, how we can chant. So here Krishna is saying, so always think of me in the form of Krishna. So when we are always totally submerged in this form of the Krishna, what happens? And at the same time, Krishna is saying, you're thinking of me also and carry your prescribed duty of fighting. What was the prescribed duty of Arjuna? He was a Kshatriya and his role was to doing fine. So Krishna in this third chapter and fifth chapter, he says, doing your activities, doing karma is better than renunciation. So Krishna is not saying, okay, only always think about me. So we see this also, when we leave everything, when we renounce and go to forest, there is always a chance we might be getting attracted to something else also. So that's what Krishna is thinking. You always think of me, but do your prescribed duties also. So Matajis are there, Prabhujis are there, so somebody might be earning. So whatever your prescribed duties are there, you continue and inform others, put Krishna in there, and then you continue your devotional service. So this Krishna is further saying, same time you do your described duty of fighting also. And then further the important thing Krishna is saying, after doing with your activities dedicated to me. So we need to dedicate whatever the results we are getting, it's because of Krishna only. When Krishna doesn't sanction whatever we are getting, it won't be happening. And then Krishna is saying, your mind and your buddhi, your mind and your intelligence, if it should be completely fixed on me. And then Krishna here it is saying, you will attain me. So there is no doubt, there is no asamshaya. Krishna is saying here, there is no doubt. So this is very important. Sometimes the devotees ask, okay, on the Janmashtami days, we have remembered Lord Krishna. No, not only one day we need to remember Lord Krishna on the devotees celebrate Krishna appearance day on the Janmashtami day. No, we need to remember Lord Krishna every day. So thinking of Krishna always is this root cause. So we here, or maximum of the devotees are Grihastha here. So you should note down this point, that we should be always remembering Krishna. And then when we remember, what is the benefit of remembering Krishna, will be saying in further shlokas also. Okay, who wants to read it? Neha Mataji have raised her hand. Yes, Mataji. Neha Mataji, want to read it?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Ananya Shenta Shatamam.
Ananya Cheta Satatam.
Ananya Cheta Satatam. Yomam Smarati Nityasaha. Tasyam Sulabha Paratha. Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha. For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Partha, because of this constant engagement in devotional service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Neha Mataji, for reading. So Krishna here is saying, the person Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to this material world, is none other than self is Krishna, and Srimati Radharani. So he came and he taught us how we can practice devotional service. So he's saying we will never come back to this material world once we attain this spiritual world. So this place in the further shlokas also in 8.15, Krishna will be saying this place, this material place where we are living is Dukhalam Ashashatam. We'll be once we attain this spiritual world, what happens when we are there in the spiritual world, there is no misery, which we'll be talking in that next shlokas also. So he's saying for one who always remember me without deviation. So daily if we remember, we will be able to pass the test, the final test at the time of death. Krishna will make sure that you are able to. He will arrange in such a way, even if you're not, which will say, saying the further slokas, I will arrange in such a way that you will be able to remember. But what we need to do is we need to also always remember him without any deviation. So Krishna is saying I'm very easy to obtain. There is no difficulties there. It can be only done if you are having the constant engagement in devotional service. Let's see. This is one of the most important shloka where Krishna talks about this material world. Yes, Dhamati Mataji wanted to read. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can I start?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Mam upetya punarjanma dukalayam ashashvatam
Ashashwatam.
napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gataha. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection.
Thank you, Mataji, for reading it out. So here Krishna is telling two things. So once this great soul, so at the time of death remembers me, and those are yogis, those are bhakti yogis. So at the time of death, once they come back to me, so he's saying he or she won't be returning to this temporary world. So Krishna is saying this world is known as Dukh Alam Ashashvatam. And why Krishna is saying this world is known as full of miseries, will be coming to this further chapter also. And he's saying so because they have attained the highest perfection. What is the highest perfection? Going back home, back to Godhead. So here, if you follow, if you remember Krishna, where you will go? So Krishna is telling the benefits of remembering him. So Krishna is saying this world is known as Dukhalam Ashashasam. So if you see, if you break these two words into parts, so it's known as Dukh Alayam. So Dukh Alayam means a place of abode. Okay. So we see hospitals in the olden days, or in Sanskrit, it is known as Chikitsalaya. So Alaya means a place of abode where the chikitsa means where the treatment of a person is happening. So hospital is known as a chikitsalaya, where treatment is being done. If you take an example of a school, it is known as vidyalaya. Vidyalaya means where teaching happens, where the teacher teaches the students. So that's why it's known as vidyalaya. So similarly, like that, there are many other places. So Krishna is saying where this place where we are living is known as Dukhalam. So if you go to Himalaya also, Alaya, place of a word, and it's covered with him. Him means snow. So that's why it's known as Himalaya. So this place is covered with miseries. Krishna is telling here, nobody here can be happy here. Some people will be getting their miseries in a second of time. Some people will be getting miseries in an hour of minute, or in an hour, or some people will be getting in a day basis. Some people will be getting in a, what we say, weekly basis or monthly basis or yearly basis. So everyone or other person, somebody is going through the miseries. What happens when there is an interval between any two of the distress which we are going through, and when there is no distress which is coming because of our own karma, and then we feel like, okay, we are very happy here, and we feel like comfortable here, and we think, okay, why can't we live it here? So Krishna is saying this world is full of miseries. In the rainy days, you might have seen when we drive on a road, so many of potholes will be there. So these potholes, when after a certain time, suppose 100 or 200 meter, if the potholes are not coming, then you can drive it very easily. And then it'll be this road is so nice. Again, if a pothole will come, then again you will scold, oh, this whatever the municipality have built this such a nice road. So similarly here, Krishna is saying, in every step people go through so much of miseries, and this is saying, Krishna is saying this world is Dukhalam Ashashatam. They saying Ashashatam means temporary. So Krishna here it is saying, if you come to my place, which is known as Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means where the place where there is no anxiety. Kuntha means anxiety. If you come to my place, there is no anxiety, there is no pain. So why Krishna is saying in the next sloka, we'll be saying, okay, can somebody says what is the real problems of our life? Let's see, any problems which you might have faced according to you. Hema Mataji, hold on. I knew what you will be saying. I'll just let me get to somebody else who will be saying.
Yeah.
Okay, can somebody say whatever the problems you are going through life? One or two examples, then we'll go to the next sloka.
Hare Krishna,
Birth, death,
Prabhu.
old age disease, Prabhu.
Sorry, Mataji.
Birth, death, old age disease.
Okay, since you have exposed it, okay, let's talk on this topic also. Yeah, when we talk about people's and we ask, what are your problems in your life? Sometimes people will be saying, okay, this is the problem, that is the problem. But we'll see those are not the real problems in our life. What is the real problems of our life is that which Krishna is saying here. Okay, Swanlatha Mataji, you have raised your hand. You want to read it, please?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Brahma Bhuvana Lokaha Punar Avartino Arjuna Mam Upetya Tu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for reading. Yes, Raja Gopalan Prabhuji says here stress or anxiety about the future. A lot of peoples we go, oh, what will happen tomorrow? Yesterday we also say, Krishna says, I know what you have done in the past, what is you will be doing in the present, and what you are about to do in the future also. So these are the problems sometimes we think, or just if you take your examples, whatever the problems currently you are going through, there means whatever your age is there. So from childhood to till now, you have gone through so many of problems, so many of anxiety. But at that time, when you look back, whatever the problems you might have done, so when you think, you say, oh, that was not a real problem actually. So what real problem is there according to Shastras? Krishna is here, Lord Krishna is mentioning here. Brahma Bhuvana Loka. So Krishna is saying here. So yesterday I was talking about. So this is the slide which I have put. So we are currently here. This is known as a Bhuloka, earthly planet. So in the third chapter I was saying, people say sometimes do good work, you will be going to Swargaloka. And if you do a bad work, you will be going to Narkaloka. What Krishna is talking about here, this is known as a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from his navel, Brahmaji comes. And Brahmaji, yesterday we talked about, even the Brahmaji also gets bewildered. We say, Brahma Vimochalila, we discussed yesterday. So there are 14 planets are there, which Krishna is mentioning here. This is one Brahmanda. And one Brahmanda, when Karanadaksha, when he inhales and exhales, this one Brahmanda is created and this is annihilated also. So that's that means this, we can see how tiny fragments we are there. So we can see whichever place you are there. So we can imagine how small and tiny and fragment we are there. So Krishna here it is saying, there are 4 problems of life are there. Birth, old age, death, and disease. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhis. So Krishna is saying, even if you go to Swargaloka is here, Bhuvarloka is there, just above this Bhuloka, and then Swargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. And this above the Satyaloka is known as Lord Brahma abode. Even if you go to this Swargaloka also, or if you go to this lower planets, which is known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Tatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. It's just down this below this Patala. In that Garud Puran, it's mentioned there. That's the place where Riyamraj lives. So we travel from here to here. Once our soul leave this body, we'll be talking about, if the time permits, about Garud Puran. Okay. So coming back to this, so these are 14 planets are there. So what Krishna is saying here. So if you go to this highest planet in this material world, down to the lowest planet also, Krishna is saying all places are miseries. Why Krishna is saying, where repeated birth and death place. So we should understand, even Lord Brahma, who is there in this planet, in this material planet, he also, after attaining 100 years of dies, leaves this body and go back home to this above. There is many things are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's there. So we should think on this fourth topic. And further, Krishna is saying, one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Krishna here it is saying. So Krishna is giving this glimpse about this material birth. So these four planets, which is known as, are the real problems of this life. We should understand. We should remember the principle CNN. You can write it down also. C stands for common to all. N stands for nobody wants it. And the third N stands for nobody wants it. So this B, DOD, which is known as birth, death, or you can name as an acronym also as a body. I remember as a like a body. B stands for body, O stands for out of death, and D stands for death, and D other stands for disease, which is known as old age. So these are the four things are there which you can remember. So these four things, if you see, it's common to all. That's the problem Krishna is saying. That's the reason it's known as the real problem of our life. The second thing is Krishna is saying nobody wants it. Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to get old, but everyone is there. And the third thing is nobody can avoid it. So I'll just give a 2 minutes of about, we'll talk about these four things, the real problems of our life. You can imagine when we Krishna says, in order to take birth in this material world, you need to take birth, and in order to take birth, you need to go into inside the womb of a mother. So just imagine there is a huge balloon is there. In a huge balloon, uh, suppose remember when we go to any mela or like fairylands will be there, so there is a big balloon will be there. So in that balloon, suppose you are packed and that mouth of the balloon is sealed, we are not able to take breath also. So that's the condition when we are put inside the womb of a mother. And that too, not like that, we are upside down hanging there. We are upside down, and he's saying, so if a mother opens her mouth, then the lights goes inside, then the child is able to breathe. So the child is totally dependent on her mother. If the mother is not eating, the child is won't be there. And then he is being covered with placenta. And that inside the balloon, you can imagine the children is being covered with fluid, lot of pus are there, urine are there, lot of dirty things are there. How you can see? So suppose if you are eating a samosa or anything which you like, and early in the morning when you go and pass a stool, you think, oh, it's so stinky, why it's there? So a lot of germs and many things, it happens like full dissolvement, it happens in the stomach. And sometimes you might see when you're passing a stool, sometimes children complains like small insects are there which is biting, then we go do and do a treatment. So that small worms which are there, which is present in our body, it keeps on biting the child. So that's the horrible condition which a child undergoes through when the mother is pregnant. And that too level, it's a saying, if a mother eats, then only if a mother eats something spicy, the child will be getting all those pains and all. And if the child is so fortunate, it's a saying, at the end of 7 month, Lord Krishna goes there, and when he prays that I want to get out of from this miseries, and Lord Krishna, if it is only fortunate, then he says he goes inside the womb, and the child is able to remember all his previous word, and he prays to Krishna, please let me come out from the womb. And as soon the child comes out from the womb, the head comes out. And as soon as in this material world, which is being supervised with Durga Devi, which is known as Lord Durga Devi, the Maya Devi of the energy of the Lord, the child comes in contact of three modes of material nature, which is known as mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And what the doctor does, he takes the child and hits in his bum. And what the child does, he cries, wah, wah. And when the child cries, all his family members are happy. Oh, my son or my daughter have born. That's you can see when you are coming into this material world, you are being welcome. How you are welcome? The people are beating you, and that's how you are welcome. So that's the painful. And the child is able to remember actually everything, but the language is there up to certain age. 1 year or something is there, he's able to communicate with us, but we are not able to understand his language, how much what we say pain he has gone through during the birth. And then Krishna talks about, this was about birth, and then Krishna talks about death. So when a person is a saying he dies, it's a saying 50,000 scorpion bites us at a particular time. That's what how much painful is there. And the Yamduta comes, he bites with he will be covering a story also if we time permits. And that is so when a person dies, he's not able to come and say you, Okay, how much pain I have went through. So that's our death is there. The person which who sees in his lifetime is old age and disease. If a person is fortunate, sometimes the old age also doesn't come. But nobody a person can claim in his whole entire life he have never fall ill. Everyone is falling ill. So though medical technology have advanced so much, but still people are getting diseases, still people are dying. So we are seeing and where the old age so that's why when you are young we should help other people. We shouldn't be having that false ego, because whatever your false ego or pride is there at the time of old age, you're not able to get up from your place also. You're not, the teeth won't be there, you won't be able to do. And this cosmetic industry, if you see this heroes and this celebrities are there, though they are able doing so much of cosmetic, but still they are not able to hide their old age. So that's what Krishna is telling. These four things are there. So one time I remember there was one journalist was there. He came to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada, he came and he said, this reporter was, I guess, from China, and he came and said, India is such an horrible country, and India is such a poor people, and people are dying there. Then Srila Prabhupada laughed, and this reporter asked, Srila Prabhupada, why are you laughing? And then Srila Prabhupada said, death rate is 100%, whether it's my country or whether it's your country. Even your country is so much advanced, according to you, but even people here is also dying. So nobody can avoid actually death. So the death rate is 100%. So here Krishna is saying, but who attains to my abode, who comes to me, never takes birth again. So that's what it's all about. So we are forced to take birth again, as prisoner is forced to go to a jail after he commits an crime. So that's what this material world talks about. Let's see to next sloka, what Krishna further is instructing. Okay, who wants to read it? Okay, Raja Gopal and Prabhu, you can read it, Prabhu, please.
वेदेषु यज्ञेषु तपस्सु चैव धनेषु यत् पुण्य बलं प्रतिष्ठाम् अत्येदि तत्सर्वाम् इदं विदित्वा योगी परं सिद्धानाम् उपैति साध्यम्. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Thank you, Prabhu, for reading it out. So here Krishna is saying Vedeshu Yagneshu Tapassu Chaiva. So if you do proper devotional service, properly performing sacrifices, austerities, going through austerities, or doing charity, or even if you're pursuing philosophical activities, just it's saying, Krishna is saying. So Krishna is saying, if you come to my place, there is no birth and death. So Krishna is, so who accept devotional service? So there is saying, Krishna is saying, whoever is doing this devotional service, whoever is accepting me and performing his devotional service throughout his life, he's saying, if somebody, whatever activities, whatever pious credit you will be doing when you are reading these Vedas, studying of these Vedas, a Vedya Dhyan we say, or when you are doing any, performing any sacrifice, or when you are going through any austerities. So this example, if you see, maybe I'll come this picture about, this is Hiranyakashipu. We see during those age, Hiranyakashipu have done so much of austerity that his whole body was becoming stone, and he was like, maybe I'll tell you the story some other time. Okay, so whether you're doing any austerities, like so much severe austerity also some people do, or you're doing any this dan is known as doing austerity or performing sacrifices, or giving charity, or doing pursuing philosophical, or doing any fruitive activities also. So Krishna here it is saying, if you do any activities, when you do a devotional service, whatever fruits you are getting out of this, Krishna it is saying, simply by performing devotional service, he attains all of this. And at the end, Krishna is mentioning, at the end, he comes to my abode. That's what Krishna is guaranteeing you. So we need to perform devotional service, and he will attain all of this, and at the end we will be going back home, back to Godhead, and that's how we won't be having these four problems of our life, which is the real problem: birth, old age, and death age. So let's see, there is one beautiful story is there about Ajamila. So a lot of devotees might have already heard about Ajamila. So Ajamila, usually if you see, he was a Brahman, a young Brahman with his caste. So his father, he was born in a Brahmanical family. I'll be means maybe telling you this story in a very short way. It's a very long story, just to give you a crunch of this chapter, which is known as the attaining of the Supreme. So because when we take classes of Ajamila pastimes, it's so long, it's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, it takes full elaborate to describe this to for 1 hour only. So coming back to Ajamila. So Ajamila, what happens, he used to, as a young Brahmana, he used to practice devotional service. And daily, as his duty, he used to go to a jungle and used to, when his father was there, he used to go and pluck some flowers and whatever paraphernalia which was required for the worshipping of their lordships. So one day, what happened when Ajamila was going, he saw one person was waiting there. And when he went there and he saw that person went there, and suddenly a girl came, and this girl was a prostitute. And this both of them was talking in a mundane way. And this Ajmila, then he went back to home. And this conversation between a man and a woman was there, so that was still in his mind. So next day again he came, and while he was plucking this flower, again he saw this person was hugging this prostitute in a way, and the clothes were in a, not in a proper way, and all those things. So Ajamila was feeling, he was there in anxiety, and he was there, and suddenly a lust appeared in his, throughout his mind and in within his heart. And what happened then, third day again, the Sajamila used to come to the same place and used to pluck this flower in order to see this lady. And one day, what happened, this Ajamila used to come and watch them. And one day, this lady was whipping it out. And then Ajamila asked her, lady, why are you crying? And then she said, I'm waiting for the person have left me. So in this material world also, we see sometimes people ditch or betray. So what happened, this Ajamila, he was so much attracted to this prostitute. He said, you come to my house, I'll take care of you. And this young woman said, I am a prostitute, you can't take, you have already have your family, you already have a wife. And what Ajamila did, he took a prostitute and he went to his house. And then his wife was there. After some days, he like abandoned his wife, his father was there, whoever was there, he abandoned everyone. And he started living with this prostitute. And with the prostitute, he begot 10 children. And one day, the 10 children was there when this Ajamila, in order, we see, in order to, if you are taking a Grahastha ashram, in order to live in this material world, you will be requiring money, you will be requiring food, shelter and all. So since Ajamila, by his birth, he was a Brahmana, so he have left all these things. So what he used to do in order to satisfy her wife, he used to steal, he used to do all those four kinds of things which are not mentioned in the scriptures. He used to steal, he used to kill somebody in order to get someone. So he was doing all those sinful activities, and that's how he used to take care of his family. So at the time of birth, the 10 children, so one time Ajamila was outside. What happened? Muni came and asked, okay, there is a son is there. So that Namakaran of the children was there. So the 10th child was somehow made as and the name was given as a Narayana. And when Ajamila came, he didn't like that one. One of the senior Acharya told he didn't like the name because it was the name of the god. And since her wife told, no, this is the name given by Sadhu, so we need to keep it. So Ajamila couldn't say anything. And so out of 10 children, this Ajamila was more attached to that 10th child. So every time, whatever activities this Ajamila used to do, he used to always call this 10 children. I said, Narayana come, Narayana eat, Narayana eat. So he's always continuous. He used to call his 10th son, Narayana come, Narayana do. All his entire activities, it was revolving around Narayana. So what happened one day, Ajamila was very, very ill. And suddenly he was about on the bed of death. And he saw three person is coming. Three horrible person came. and he was very terrified. And as he was very terrified, he started calling Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. He started calling in the 7 minutes. So what happened? Then Vishnu Dutas also came. It's mentioned in the Garud Purana that when a person dies, Ajmila was able to. So that's the reason in the medical science also, or in your, you can ask your, if you have seen or not, when a person dies, he'll be shouting, "Oh, go away, go away, go away." The doctors are not able to tell. These are the Yamdutas. Visually, is Ajmila saw the three awkward persons with deformed bodily features, very fierce, twisted faces like this and like that, and the hairs were standing erect on their body with ropes in their hand. They had come to take him away. Sorry, to the home of abode of Yamraja. When he saw them, he was extremely bewildered. This Ajamila was bewildered, and he, because of the attachment to his child who was playing just in a short distance, he started shouting, "Narayan, Narayan, please!" And then, with his tears in his eye, he somehow chanted the holy name of the Narayana. And I was saying, a person who performs sinful activities perform with his saying is the we perform sinful activities with three things actually: with our body, with our mind, and with our words. So we should be very careful. So that's the reason when we die, actually three carriers, or the order carriers of Yamaraja came to take Ajmila. So fortunately, even though he was referring to his son, Ajmila chanted the four syllables of Hari name Narayana, and therefore the order carriers of Narayana came there. And as soon as this Narayana came there, the Vishnu Dutas are known as this carriers are there. Vishnu Dutas also arrived there. And because Ajimila was extremely afraid of the ropes of Yamraja, we see these are the ropes of Yamrajas are there. He chanted, when he chanted the name of the Lord, actually he never meant to actually chant the name of the Narayan, but he meant to call his son. So when this there's the fight has happened between this Vishnu Dutas and the Yamdutas. Then the Yamduta says, "Oh, we have came here." When this Vishnu Duta came, so with the light, they were very fearful. Oh, they understood this are not an ordinary person. And the Yamdutas and all, they said, so this is the most sinful person. They just opened their record in the Yamraj to take us. He was born as a Brahman. He have taken, he given a shelter. He have removed his father from his house, his wife and everything. And then he have done all those things. So this Yamdutas, usually the order carries of Yamraja was snatching the soul from the core of the heart of the Ajmila, the husband of the prostitute. But with the resounding voice of the messenger of the Lord Vishnu, the Vishnu Dutas, they forbid them to do so. Why? A Vaishnava who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord Vishnu is always protected by the Lord Vishnu's order carrier. So this Vishnu Dutas said that because Ajmila had chanted the holy name of Narayana, the Vishnu Dutas not only immediately arrived on the spot, but also at once ordered the Yama Dutas not to touch him. By speaking with so much of resounding voices, this Vishnu Dutas threatened to punish the Yamdutas also if they continue to snatch the Ajamila soul from his heart. The order carriers of Yamrajas have a jurisdiction only for sinful living entities, but the messengers of the Lord, the Vishnu Dutas, are capable of punishing anyone, including Yamraj also. If he wrongs a Vaishnava, so he was, since he have taken a name of Vaishnava, so this materialistic scientists do not know where to find the soul within the body of this material instrument. But this verse clearly explains the soul is present there within the coat of the heart. So that's the story of Ajamila was there. Similar conversation was there, and since he have chanted, so that's the reason in olden days, if you see, the people used to keep the name of their son or daughter in the name of Lord, the holy name of that, what we say, people. That's what it was there. And then what happens? Further, there was a conversation cutting stories short. So simply by just one chanting the holy name of the Narayana, what we saw, this Brahmana has become free from the reaction of sinful activities, and this Yamdutas took this Ajamila back home, back to Godhead. And this is a Puspak Vimang is there, and they took him back home, back to Godhead, and that's why he was there. So we see, we'll go into this. This was a small story, how we can attain to a supreme. So what happens if a devotee, is a very important question which a devotee asks. What happens if a devotee is not able to remember Krishna at the time of death? Let's see what Krishna answers in Varaha Purana. Who wants to read it? Who haven't read till now? It's okay. I'll ask anyone. Okay, Ashwani Mataji, you can read it, please. Yes, Prabhu.
Hello.
Ashwani Prabhu, you can read it, please.
Prabhuji,
Haribol.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, Mataji, we can hear you.
यदि वति वतति दोषने म भक्तो म न च स्मर्ते अहम स्मर्ति मद भक्ता नयम paramingami. If my devotee is unable to remember me at the time of death because of disturbance felt within the body at that time, then I shall remember my devotee and take him back to the supreme abode.
Yes, so Krishna here is, thank you, Mataji, for reading it out. So Krishna here, it is mentioning here. So even if you're not able to remember at the time of death, since you have taken my name throughout, if my devotee is unable to remember, because we know whenever our body is very ill, we are not able to chant, do our daily activities also, whatever your prescribed duties are also there. And at the time of death, we are not feeling well. Many things goes within the body. So in that consciousness, it's very difficult actually to remember Krishna. So Krishna here, it is saying, if somebody is not able to remember me at the time of death because of the disturbance felt at the time of the within the body at the time of death, then Krishna is saying, I shall remember my devotee and take him back to supreme abode. So Krishna will arrange in such a way. There are many pastimes are there, which Srila Prabhupada, his disciples were also there. A lot of, they have written also, their family, they were saying, Krishna will arrange in such a way that at the time of that, you will be taking their name. Devotees will come, you will be dying in a devotee association, you will be, so devotees will be constantly chanting for you. And then they will make sure that at the time of death, you are able to remember Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is very important. So in order to prepare for the test of this life with the death, this exam is there, we need to prepare daily. So maybe I'll just quickly recap the chapter and then we'll go the glorification of the chanting. Why, when we chant, what is the benefit of that? So this is the recap of chapter 8. I'll request all the devotees, we can chant from today onwards. As I said, we can chant one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It will take only 7 to 8 minutes maximum. And that's how we'll be able to remember Krishna every day, and whatever impurities are there in our heart, it will go away and we'll be able to understand this Bhagavad Gita more and more. So it's a saying, we have understood in Gita Mahatmya that whatever the benefits, if you go to the holy river Prayag, even by just simply recitation of Bhagavad Gita, and when you take circumambulation of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam or Tulsi Devani, you will be getting the same benefit. So Krishna in 8.5, if you remember Krishna at the time of death, you will attain his nature, you will go back to him. If you're not remembering, what will happen? Remembering any state, you will be taking that state only. Then it's saying, if you think how to remember him, you need to act upon him, you need to think of him, then only you can attain his abode. So in the 15 and 16, we saw this material world is known as Dukhala Mashasam. This is temporary manifestation and which goes through 4 miseries. What are the 4 miseries which everyone goes through? Can somebody tell quickly? Haribol. Yes, thank you, Mataji. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Yes, Dhanpal Prabhu, Komal Mataji. Thank you. So those are the 4 miseries, and we should always remember CNN. Nobody can. This is common to all. Nobody can avoid it, and nobody wants it, but still we get it. So that's the 4 miseries of the life. We'll proceed further. So in 8.28, we discuss, if you perform devotional service at the end of, Krishna is saying, you will be able to come to my, there will be no birth and death. If you perform devotional service, there is whatever other activities we do, you will get this benefit simply by doing devotional service. You'll be getting those activities. And Srimad Bhagavatam, which says how we can do 9 devotional service also, which we'll be talking about in the next slide. And this in this Kali Yuga, there is a Sankirtan Yagna is there. Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, only by a Sankirtan Yagna you can attain this Lord name. Okay. This is only in English I have kept. Okay. Who haven't read, let me read slowly. Okay, Nitya Prabhu or Mataji, you can read, please. You haven't read till now in any of the class. I want you to read. Okay, Priya Darshani Mataji have raised her hand. Yes, Mataji, you can go ahead. Hare Krishna, Priya Darshani Mataji or Nitya Mataji. Let me pull.
Yes, Prabhu, I do, Prabhu.
Okay, Nitya Mataji, you can read it.
Of all the different spiritual practices, the 9 forms of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc., are the best because they have great potency to deliver Krishna and ecstatic love for him. Of these 9 practices, Nama Sankirtana is the best. By chanting the holy name without offense, one very easily obtains the priceless treasure of Krishna Prema. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, thank you, Mataji, for reading it out. So Krishna here is talking about in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 9 forms of devotional services there, which is known as Shravanam and Kirtana. This is known as Navda Bhakti, 9 kind of devotional service which you can do. So this is main in this spiritual life. So basic forms is known as Shravana Kirtan. So the most easy is known as Shravana Kirtan. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare. When we take the name of the Lord, it's known as Shravanam. We are taking the name and the same thing we are hearing. So it is the most easy, and by taking only doing this activities only, you can go back home, back to Godhead. So there are other things also, it's the same because it's the best, because they have got the great potency to deliver to, and we can go back and we can get that static love to Krishna. And this 9 practices is known as Nam Sankirtan. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he came, he wanted to glorify this Nam Kirtan. So if you chant only this one, this is the best one. By chanting the holy name without any offenses, we should understand. It's not like we should be taking, okay, today I am chanting, all my sinful activities are going away. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, let me do again sinful activities. It's known as a Hathi Snana. It's just like when a elephant takes a bath in the river and he is being clean, again he come and he take a mud and he put on himself. Again he's getting dirty. So we should be thinking that, okay, we are by the mercy of the Lord, we are able to take the name of the Lord. Then from tomorrow onwards, we won't be committing any offenses also. And saying one can be very easily obtain this priceless treasure of Krishna Prema. So the most easy is known as Shravanam, but it is very different. Shravanam Kirtana is so easy. So this 9 devotional service in that 12th chapter will talk more about, will explain you in complete details with example how we can perform this 9 forms of bhakti, which are known as the best. Out of this, the best is known as Nam Sankirtan. With this, today we'll chant one round of Hare Krishna. I'll take just 2 minutes to quickly announce and go through the common slides. Okay, so all devotees, all languages of Bhagavad Gita as it is being we are giving, you can get a copy in 300 rupees only for this week, because we have got some in sponsorship. So that's the reason we have reduced the price, and this includes shipping charge. So even you can help us also in distributing of this book also. If you want to sponsor also, you can after this class ping me and how much is there. So till now we have received around 400 or something around, yesterday it was there. So people have donated, and whatever this Bhagavad Gita is there, people who have donated. So on the Sundays, we'll be going to orphanage, hospitals. There are a group of devotees are there, and the government schools where people are not able to afford, they don't have money. So we go and distribute this and give this knowledge to them also, such that their life also gets changed. So because if you give money on other things, they won't, like from the soul platform, they won't be able to rise. But when we give Bhagavad Gita, the real problems of their life will be going. So that's what it is. If you want, you can, yeah. So this Sunday on the 11th of December, we have a special class, How to Dream Big. So we'll be giving a lot of examples will be there from the study of Bhagavad Gita. We can understand how we can dream big, and we can live our life in a Krishna consciousness. So everyone is invited. Please invite your families and friends also, so they can also come. So that's what one announcement was there. And please keep on continue coming in the classes. Whoever person attends 12 classes and gives this 12 quizzes, so they're eligible for this certificate. But doesn't stops here. please come and attend this remaining 18 chapters also, whatever 9 chapters are left. So those are very important. Those are the transcendental knowledge. Through that, you'll be able to proceed. Yeah, this is our address. ISKCON Seshadripuram. If you are in Bangalore, you are welcome. And do visit if you are not in Bangalore anytime. If you come, you can there. So this is there. So question answer, maybe I'll take it at last. Once we'll chant one time of Hare Krishna. So thank you, devotees who have joined for today. So I'll request, if possible, kindly wait for 7 more minutes. I'll quickly share my screen again, and then we can chant one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and then maybe we'll take a question answer. Is it fine, devotees? Let me know once you are able to see my screen. Okay, so devotees who you can turn on your videos as well. So we'll be chanting from today onwards one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Okay, here is batch 8. Yeah, so I'll just play a different video today, which we are playing on a daily basis. So let me know once you are able to hear. Can somebody confirm you are able to hear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay.
Prabhuji.
So we'll, yes, Mataji. Okay. We'll come back to you, Mataji, if you have any question. I'll request all the devotees, let us chant this Pancha Tattva mantra first. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashati Gaura Bhaktavinda. We'll start chanting Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare
Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaura Bhaktavinda. So maybe how you were feeling when you were chanting?
Amazing, Prabhuji.
Any devotee wants to share? Sorry, Mataji.
Amazing, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Any other realization for other devotees? Was their mind peace, or there might be something you are sitting down there only, your mind is revolving around, you're thinking so many things. Was that happening also?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So when we are not chanting attentively, our minds will be wandering. So this is the process. Practice. Krishna told practice, and then you will be able to detach from those things. So when you are able to practice daily, when you chant, you will be saying you are able to bring back your mind again here on the chanting of the holy name. So tomorrow is a very important chapter. The most confidential knowledge which Krishna will be giving tomorrow is that middle portion of Bhakti Yoga. Will be seeing what Krishna will be saying. So devotees, now the stage is open for question answer. Maybe if you want to share any of your realization or any point you want to add or something is there, the stage is open. Maybe I'll close the recording.